Hey everyone, this is Warren with unashamedofjesus.org, and today I just want to talk to you about the events that happened in Nashville, the shooting um, of Christians being hunted down for their faith, and that's exactly what happened. And you know, obviously, it's very a sad day, and I understand there's Christians who are being persecuted and killed all over the world, but um, the way that really bothers me and angers me, among other many things, is that the way this situation is being portrayed and treated by the media. And I'm going to show you a video that was on the news to just show my point. But you know, when if there's a shooting, in any other religion, Muslim mosque or a Jewish synagogue, the president will go on and say, stop the hate, and which is the right response. But a shooting happens in a Christian school, and what is the response by the president? Nothing. Crickets. What's the response by anyone? Well, let me just share to you um, a news segment that it'll just show you the mentality of our nation. Listen to this.
Aspect, the psychological profile of the shooter, forensic psychologist Kris Mohandie and psychologist Dr.
So, just to give you some context, in case you're not aware, the shooter who targeted the Christians is a transgender 28-year-old that went to the school 16 years ago and supposedly targeted this Christian school because of their transgenderism and the Christianity of the school.
Erica Anderson. Yes, you remember Dr. Anderson from our story about transgender and detransitioning. It's good to see you again. Thank you both. Mohandie, let me start with you. From a forensic perspective, this fact, is it a distinction with a difference?
Well, I think it becomes an important origin for what all these shooters have in common is a sense of grievance that they're fixated upon. And so it is a reasonable hypothesis to explore investigatively that this individual may have had some issues with navigating that. We know that transgender people in our society, unfortunately, are subjected to mistreatment.
So notice what he says there. So first of all, he confirmed that it's a reasonable fact that this individual targeted this school, which included killing the 3 9-year-olds. Okay, and this is a 28-year-old individual. It's reasonable to believe that this person killed the Christians because of their grievance with their they didn't agree with maybe the doctrine of the Bible, so they felt that they needed to kill them for that. But now this guy is going to try to sympathize with this murderer to say that, well, transgenders, they have a hard time in America, which I find hard to believe since the LGBTQ agenda is forced down our throats at every level and every length, and this group is catered to. But now when they go and target Christians and murder them, we're supposed to sympathize with them. No.
Marginalized, stigmatized, and rejected, and have a lot of unfortunate negative experiences, as they are grappling with their identities and trying just to be who they are. And so that could be the seeds, of a grievance. The fact that it's a religiously themed school, could be the origin of a place where.
You notice what he says there. The fact that it's a religious based school, that could be the whole issue there. So the whole issue here is Christianity. So all these people deserve to die by the psychologist's opinion because of Christianity.
They felt rejected as they were maybe expressing certain ideas.
And how does he know that this person was rejected? This individual is 28 years old. Okay. This is not a kid. All right. This person hasn't been to this school in 16 years. All right. This is an adult.
These are hypotheses, but these are reasonable hypotheses that could be part of it, or maybe not, but definitely something that needs to be explored.
One bounce question to you, and then I want to go to Dr. Anderson about how we understand this person's actions. The bounce question is this, Mohandie. Uh, Usually they are at the school, recently out of the school, once in a while, some years later. But to target your middle school when you are 28 years old, when you know.
Exactly. I mean, notice the insanity of all of this. A 28-year-old targeting a middle school. Uh, this person is totally depraved, evil, but yet they're going to try to sympathize with it because it's a transgender.
Oh, nobody in there is above sixth grade. What does that tell you?
I think that there's some sort of either perception of mistreatment that originated there.
Perception of mistreatment again. So this psychiatrist is going back to, well, it's the Christian's fault because this person has a perception that they were mistreated, which this guy doesn't know any of that because he's never talked to this individual to begin with. But that's the perception that it's the Christian's fault because this transgender is depraved and feels rejected.
There, a grievance that became fixated upon that institution is one hypothesis. The other could be simply a target that they were familiar with, that they knew that would be soft, that they had access to, or it could be a combination of those.
Yeah, they knew that killing Christians would be easy, right? Because Christians are loving people for the most part. You know, Jesus taught us to love our enemies, to love one another. And so, yeah, that's why everybody targets Christians. You don't see people targeting Muslims because they know they'll get killed.
Features, but I would go with likely that there is a sense of mistreatment that originated there, that they're fixated upon. It doesn't make it right, but that may be part of what this is about.
Dr. Anderson, I know that you're not in the business of talking about shootings very often, but the reason we wanted you to come on is my gut reaction to this story was, oh boy, just what people needed.
We know the reason why he asked this doctor to come on because obviously this doctor is a transgender himself. And of course, they're going to push the transgender agenda that, oh, the Christian school, it was all their fault. Here we go.
Another reason to go bad on people who are transgender and see them as now different in a violent way.
Yeah. Uh, let's forget the fact that this individual just murdered 9 year olds, but let's sympathize with them now because we don't want transgenders to be looked in a bad way.
Um, and now I know people are going to say, "Oh boy, you're feeling bad for him after what he just did." It's not about that, but it's about
It is about that. That's what you're
understanding
doing.
how this person got to this situation. What do you see in what we know so far, Doc?
Well, as we all know, there's more to come in terms of learning about the shooter. It's a highly unfortunate event. My heart goes out to these families. 3 innocent children, 3 innocent adults, and the shooter all dead in a horrible day. Too many horrible days in America like this, I'm afraid. I'm concerned that people would make too much of the whatever personal torment this shooter had that might.
Whatever this personal torment. So again, they're trying to justify the actions of this insane person.
Be related to gender. We don't know yet. We'll learn more, I'm sure. It is true, as Dr. Kris said, that transgender people have it rough in America.
Transgenders have it rough in America. Why don't you try being a Christian, white, heterosexual male and see how tough it is?
Maybe more so in recent years because of the publicity There's a lot of stigma, marginalization. All the surveys tell us that transgender people in America have a rough road to go. So we could speculate, as we're doing, that perhaps this young person was experiencing some sort of personal struggle or torment, maybe at the time that they were a student at the school. It's an awfully long time ago for someone 28 to reflect upon events that would have occurred before this person was 12.
Exactly. Even this transgender psychiatrist even has the common sense or reasoning to tell you a 28-year-old to have a grievance of a school 16 years ago is insane. And the fact that this 28-year-old is still living at home and is a total loser. And so we're just going to sympathize with this murderer, this cold-blooded murderer, because they're a transgender. This is the sickness of America.
12 years old, that's 16 years. That's a long time to harbor a grievance or a resentment. So one would wonder what's happened in the meantime. What mental health treatment did this person have? I'm suspicious because the person is 28, as reported, living at home with a family of origin. That's kind of unusual for someone of that age to be still living at home, if it's still, or again, living at home. So I'd wonder about that. The LinkedIn profile, which you've looked at, shows the person with their name, I assume legal name, which appears to be a female name, but the preferred pronouns are he, him. So one question that arises for me is, where were they in some kind of a gender journey, and were they partially through some kind of a transition or had?
So the justification of this shooting is a gender journey. Doesn't anybody see the insanity of any of this?
They just begun? I don't know. I would like to know. Perhaps we'll have another conversation when we have a lot more facts. But certainly, there's no reason to indict all trans people as being violent. The evidence is quite the contrary.
Hey, thank you for watching.
Okay, so you know, just watching that is sickening, and it just shows you how discriminated against Christians are in America. And I've been doing a couple of videos about the persecution of Christians, even in America, and we're seeing it right here. Uh, Innocent Christians, 9-year-olds, hunted down in cold blood, and uh, America's going to justify it because the trans murderer is going through a gender journey. Okay, I want to present, I just want to share some scripture with you, obviously, 'cause that's what we do. That's where our source of truth is. These are the words of Jesus Christ. Then when they'll deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended and will betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will rise and deceive many. And because the lawlessness will abound, the love of many grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. I continue to pray for the families, the communities, everyone that was impacted by this tragic event in Nashville. But understand that we are in the end times, and persecution of Christianity is becoming more and more common every day. Until next time, God bless you all.